Hi. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast. Today we have a lot of fun activities. Well, not really a lot of fun activities. Let's introduce what we're doing. So like recently, there are a lot of Gen Z human beings. They are just what is it called? They are decorating their K-pop idols.
Yes.
Top loader cards, right? Like this one over here, it's TXT, so cute. But what we're going to do today is we're going to decorate the cards for our favorite, for me it's politicians because I am in a politics major.
I'm in a philosophy major, so I'm going to be doing people like these. I don't know if people will recognize them, but they are Chinese philosophers. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting few minutes of us just doing this.
Okay, so today's topic is mediocrity. Like seriously, we're doing mediocre shit right now.
Hey!
While we're actually talking about mediocrity. I'm gonna start off by asking a very simple question, and that is, do you think that you are mediocre?
Do I think that I'm mediocre?
Yeah, do you?
I think I've grown up having people tell me that I'm basically mediocre. I think you can understand that as well. Oh, so fancy. Hold on.
So I have to peel off the stickers.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Well, yes. Okay. I don't even know how to start, but anyway, so Jody actually helped me print out more because not accidentally, but yesterday I said that he's the best looking one out of all them, because I don't know if you can see, but out of all of them, I think Mo Zi is the most handsome.
Handsome.
He's the most handsome.
Indeed.
Yeah, but isn't he? Actually, I can't remember. Is he the most cruel? I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
I don't study philosophy.
I don't
know.
like Chinese philosophy either, but because I just want to be less racist instead of all white people, like this bunch of people. So yeah. How do you define mediocre though, to begin with? Like, how would you define mediocre?
Honestly, right? I cannot pinpoint anything at this point in time because I feel like our ideals are very warped by how society is,
That's true. I think, okay, if I were to give a definition of mediocre, I would probably say someone who's not doing. Okay, I also can say it's my Singlish, winning everyone. How do you say it? You're not better than anyone. Yeah, okay, I'll put it that way. You're not as good as the average person. At least how we see is the average person. I think Singaporeans have a very warped idea of what is the average. Like us. Okay, I think we'll talk about that a bit later. But in general, I think mediocrity is something that I've faced a lot since young. Because
your parents?
Yeah, they're very... like in Singapore, if your exam results are not up to par, or if... Okay, I remember when I was in primary 2, I think, we had our first official exams. Then what happened was I got pretty good scores for English, because English was my favorite subject, lemao. And then I think I got like an 87 out of 100. But I was second in class. The first was, I think 91 out of 100, so 91%. Then I remember my mom asking me in Chinese why didn't you become first? Like, why didn't you get 91 also? Or why don't you get 92? Like that kind of thing.
I think the worst part is that I think she sees that as a joke.
Yeah. I mean, if you say it in Chinese, it does sound more like a joke, right?
Yeah.
But then to the 8-year-old me, that doesn't really seem like it wasn't a joke. It felt more of like, oh, okay, I guess I should have done better, or second place isn't enough, that kind of thing. It sounds quite sad now that I put it like this. But I don't mean it in that way. Like, it's not like a bad thing to want to aim high, but sometimes I think especially Asian parents, they tend to forget that aiming high doesn't mean that you gotta aim to be the highest.
Yeah, but like if it's not the highest, then it's not high enough.
it just, I don't know lah. They confuse highest and higher, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. So like one of the questions that I already prepared right over here is the idea of never good enough is like very rampant in the Singaporean society, right? So how do you feel as like a very mediocre child, you know, especially with our PSLE scores? The two of us actually scored really similarly, I think.
Like
It's
a
quite
lot of
interesting.
things in our life.
Yeah, we are very similar in a lot of things in
We're
our
just
life.
like one unit away from each other. Our birthdays, our NRIC number even is like very similar. We're just like 6 numbers apart.
Actually, it's funny because like now we have the exact same GPA. I'm not gonna review our GPA, but we have the exact same GPA, like to the
To the T.
yeah,
Yes.
really, it's very scary. I don't
It
know.
is. It is quite scary.
Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of creepy, but like what were your PSLE scores?
203. Right, my score was 203.
Hmm.
Yeah, for PSLE. I remember. Oh my god. The whole never good enough this idea, right? I remember when I came back. Not the day. I think the next day, like we were discussing which secondary school that I wanted to go to. Then my parents were like, okay, you should go to Westwood Secondary.
What score is it?
I think it was 218. Yeah, 218.
Wow, then you
Yeah. But basically, they say that you gotta aim high, even if your score is low. But then I realistically told them, there's no point in me doing that though, because if I don't get in, I won't get in one, right? I ended up going to a school that was 188 now. But it's not a bad thing though, I think. It just means that they are willing to drop their score to 188 to let people in, and not really like, it doesn't really show the standard of the school, you know.
But I think it's also important for us to like let people know, in case you're not from Singapore, that if you score above 200, so like people like us, we score just like 3 marks, 4 marks above 200, we do not have the option to actually go to normal express, normal academic stream.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Singapore has, I mean, it's changed now, or it's gonna change next year, I think. But we have 3 streams that secondary school students are allowed to choose. So it's normal, technical, normal academic, and express. If your PSLE score is above 200 out of 300, you would be forced to go into express. You can't choose to drop your stream, basically. But people who score from 188 to 199, they have the option to choose between either normal academic or express, basically.
Yeah.
So when we say that, you know, the schools not drop off point. That's taxi.
Yeah, drop off point is the
What was it called?
cut off point, drop off point.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Okay, but yeah, okay. I almost said drop off point again. Cut off point is 188. Like Singaporean parents tend to think like, oh, okay, that's not a very good school because they accept students who can make the choice between normal acad and express, which is a very weird kind of thinking also, right? But at the same time, okay, I'm not gonna, I don't know, I guess it's our kiasi culture. But I remember that time they told me to go into Westwood. By the way, I got into my 5th choice of school, but I stayed there and graduated, and I'm here, so it didn't really matter. But I remember my dad straight up telling me, like, he scolded me lah.
He scolded you?
Yeah, he scolded me.
Are
Like,
you going to express though?
yeah, I know, right? Basically, they always tell me that, oh, their goal for me is not very high. And yeah lah, I've always met their goals lah, but it's never enough for them, I think. So I remember I said something like, okay, then I might as well go to a 188 school. Isn't it better that way? Because I guess if you put it in such a way, I would be better than the other students. Not way better, but at least better than the other students, right?
So the idea is like a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. That kind of thing. That was my thinking. But then my parents were like, you should have just scored higher then.
Huh? But you can't change it already.
I know. Yeah, but my dad scolded me. It's like, he says, I mean, I cannot forget lah, of course. I mean, I still remember now lah. But he said something like, then you should have scored higher. And he scolded me. Then he just left and to buy lunch. I'm like, what the hell?
You remember everything like so vividly, eh?
Yeah, I do, because it was a kind of, I wouldn't say 打击 lah, but I don't think I'll ever forget lah. But this is not something that I want to experience ever again. It's very strange, this whole idea of like not being enough for some reason.
Like, I think we mentioned recently about like we have people around us in university whereby they'll just tell us things like, oh, do you know that my PSLE score is so good? I don't understand why some of us cannot let go of the fact that we did well in PSLE. Like, we're not trying to be mean, but how sad it is. Like, is it if you picked at PSLE? Like, many people actually pick at PSLE. That's why they can't let go of the fact that, hey, I used to score like 250 at PSLE. Don't look at my GPA now, even though my GPA now is also 250. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Man. But like, like there are people who are like this, and I don't know, I just feel like, okay, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, I'm a tuition teacher right now, right? And I only have 4 passes. So if I want to like become better or whatever, or like further my education, I have to get 5 passes. So I actually have to retake everything. So this is really ridiculous because I feel like I already went through the A-levels. I'm already in university. I'm graduating.
Ignore me. I'm doing my best.
Struggling.
So I'm doing my best. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so like basically, yeah, it just feels very unfair to me because people like to dwell on the past a lot in Singapore. That's why people keep telling me that, O-levels are so important, like, as if nothing else matters. And that in a sense is why people always like, so how do I say this? They're very particular about O-levels.
They are. To a fault, I would say.
Yeah, to a fault.
I think even our like government system, right? Like things like if you want to work in government service, they will look at your O-level results first. Even though you got a degree, it just makes no sense to me. Sorry, government. I think you're very effective, but not in this sense. Okay,
she's scared. No, I also agree as well. Like, why do you need to keep looking like at like the past?
Exactly.
Then you're trying to say that the new achievements that we have don't matter, essentially.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, this kind of thinking is very, I don't know if it's, I think it's mainly because of our culture, because our parents are always like, okay, I didn't have a good life when I was younger. At least that's what my parents tell me. Like, I didn't have a good life when I was younger, so I don't want you to be the same now. You gotta study hard and be able to find a nice job and not have to work outside and like do construction work, because my dad does construction related stuff, right? And my mom is like someone who has to run the entire of Singapore to do her job, that kind of thing. So they don't want the same for me. They want me to do well, get a degree, and then find
cushy
life. Yeah, have a cushy life. But to be honest, even like office jobs and stuff, they have their own challenges. You don't just like,
sit there on your chair
and do nothing.
Yes.
And wait for your paycheck. That's not how things work though. So no matter what, it's still going to be a challenge, right? But the way they think is that, okay, if my kid studies well and like does well in studies, then no worry, they will be able to live a good life or something like that. Not saying that they're wrong. It's true that you do get to live a better life when you get a higher score, because your pay tends to be better. But at the same time, there's something very wrong about the way they think, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of sad thinking about it now. Oops.
Yeah, I mean, it is very sad.
Yeah, I think also, okay, so I'm also a tuition teacher. So I see all these kids, right? They are like my students. Their parents really want them to do well. But I think the difference between the two of us is we teach different age groups. So my kids are gearing towards PSLE. So because PSLE is like the first big national examinations, the parents are extremely scared that they will fall behind the line like from the get-go, I think. So they tend to be like really, how to say, worried for these kids. And then not every week, but especially near exam periods, like I will have messages from parents telling me like, oh, how's my kid, or how to revise for this, how to revise for that kind of thing. And like, I can see that the kids are very stressed out. But then at the same time, the parents, I wouldn't say forget that they can feel stressed out, but they would rather have the kid push through the stress and I get them to do
Mm.
and work through it. I don't know.
I don't know. Do you feel like O levels? Which one was the more stressful for you? PSLE, O levels, A levels, since we went through all three.
Much, much, much later.
Okay, how about you answer first? Because I need to think.
I actually found O levels the most stressful for me
Okay.
because I feel that, you know, I was one of those students who actually chose the science stream without thinking about what I like, because everybody keeps like telling me that, you know, only the science stream, you only get a good job if you go for a science stream. If you go to arts, right, then your life is ruined lah, basically, because like, what are you gonna do when you grow up? It's like what they always ask me, what are you gonna do when you grow up? Then I'll always say like, I don't know, because you can't ask a 16-year-old this kind of question, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I will tell you like very like vague ideas, like, oh, I want to be a teacher, I want to be this, I want to be that. I feel like nowadays, a lot of the times when the parents, they ask their kids to make a decision, right, it's not like for the kids' own interest.
Yeah.
It's more of like, you know, you just have to do this lah, because like this has been the proven route for success, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is no proven route for success. It's a bit, I don't know. It's wrong to like have a formula for success. But I think, I don't know, is it Adam Khoo? You know,
Yeah.
there's like the motivational speaker.
Yes. It used to be so big when we were younger, I remember. He's like, and the worst part is like MOE schools will actually ask them to come and do workshops. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that my parents didn't sign me up for it.
I attended the workshop because it is like considered like a must for our school for everybody to sign up. And it was so useless because it's just like those like motivational shit that's telling you you're not good enough until you basically like, you know,
Hit a
die of
certain-
yeah
Yeah.
exhaustion or whatever the shit.
Wasn't it guilt tripping essentially?
Yeah, it was guilt tripping and it was really
Gross.
yeah, and for some reason the parents saw this as like, you know, some form of, yeah, it's I am spending money to basically bash my kids, but it's a good thing because I guess they will grow up to be good individuals or something. What is the whole idea of this Adam Khoo like motivation center? Is it just to like earn easy money or whatever?
Oh shit.
Because like it doesn't help anybody, it just makes them feel worse. I did ask like a few of my students, say, how do you feel after like attending the lesson? It's like it's just a waste of money, man. I don't feel more motivated, I feel worse about myself. And the thing about kids nowadays, right, is that once you're at the age of like probably like secondary school, it's no longer the parents that are pushing the kids. It's the kids who make the decisions of whether they want to come to tuition,
Exactly.
things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was like that too. Like the whole choosing whether I want tuition or not. My parents asked me, and I was like, yeah, I do. You know, that kind of thing. But that was in secondary school now. Yeah, but I think I had a friend who told me that she actually went for Adam Khoo, right? And then she told me that they basically put you in a room, turn off all the lights, and then like force you to cry
Huh?
because you think of your parents dying in a car crash. Yours was different? Because my classmates were like that also, you know. They did the ultimate guilt trip. Basically, you have to think about the death of your parents in order to succeed. Basically, I don't know how they did that. I don't know why they did that. There's something really wrong about what they did.
So yeah, 10 years down the road, this is child abuse already.
It is
I
child
mean,
abuse.
it was child abuse even back then. It's just that we didn't realize that it was child abuse, like, as a society.
Which is why Adam Khoo no longer.
It's no longer the one of the top already.
Yeah.
Because our methods are so old, so well insensitive.
And like, it's not encouraging at all. It's actually discouraging.
Yeah, the kids are terrified, dude. Like, what are you trying to do to them? I don't know, man. But like,
Mine is so ugly. I'm so sorry, but okay.
mediocre, not mediocre, whatever it is, you know, it's just so. Regardless, I feel that they are not. It's not working. People are just throwing their money into the sea and they didn't realize it, or they realized it, but everybody was doing it. Like, this whole bandwagon mentality really also blurs the line of what mediocre
Hell
is
yes.
or not. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So I feel like if everybody is doing this, right, then everybody is mediocre. So is there really a true meaning to what mediocre is? And I realized that after we entered university, right, it's very difficult for us to really tell whether we are mediocre. Some people tell us that because you talk to different people, their perspectives are different.
Very different.
So someone will say that you are very mediocre, then the other person will be like, why are you so condescending? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I don't blame those people for feeling that way. But at the same time, they shouldn't blame us for feeling this way also. It's just what we've always known.
Yes.
Okay, we are in second upper. We might get bashed for saying this, but after a whole lifetime of people telling you that you're not good enough, I think even if we're at 4.5, even if we are in first class, we would think that we're not good enough. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Which is what's happening to my friends. They're like, oh, 4.5 only though.
Yeah, but we're like, are you in first class? Like, yeah, but I'm not in the top of first class, I'm in the bottom. So, okay, when I first started out in university, I was in second lower. Right, I did horribly for one of my modules in my very first semester, and I felt the effects until like 2 years after I'm done, 2 years into my university career. So I remember like being so worried that like, I will be on the, I would be running at the back, but at the same time, right, actually thinking that, right, my friends around me, they are either around the same score or less. So, like, especially from my own major lah. So, I don't know, I just don't know why I felt this like sense of like, wow, I failed already. And it was my first ever semester at uni. And I'm like thinking,
okay, I will say something. I feel your mom tends to compare the two of us quite a bit.
oh yeah. I mean, your parents do that too, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, our parents tend to like compare the two of us to each other, even though we're in different majors, even though we don't do the same courses. It's quite, I wouldn't say annoying, but it's very strange to compare the two of us lah. Right? Because we're not even in the same school. Right? I mean, we used to be lah. Right?
Yeah, I think it's because they're so used to the idea that, we're from MI.
Yeah.
I don't want to see how things plays out. But I would say that, I mean, it doesn't bother me because, I don't know, I feel that she and I, like, our strengths are very different, so...
But we play off of each other very well, so that's why we're still, like, good friends. Yeah. But, like, cause... Okay, sorry. So every semester when the results come out, right, the first question that my parents ask will be like, Jody got how much? Like that, in Chinese, they'll be like, oh, Jody got how much? Then I'll be like, so in the past I'll be like, oh yeah, she's in second upper. Then their first reaction is, then why aren't you in second upper? Like, but then once I got into second upper, there was a point in time where we were both in second upper, but my score was slightly lower than yours. And they'd be like, oh, so then why don't you get to that score? Like that. And it's very odd to me. Like, I mean, I'm not angry or whatever, but it's very strange lah, right? Then I remember the time when I finally got into second upper, then I did a calculation. You can use the NTU GPA calculator. Then you can calculate what's your highest ever score that you can aim for, right? Then I calculated with the AUs that I had left, right? I basically didn't have any... I couldn't get into first class anymore. So I just straight up told my mom lah, like, after calculating, it's impossible for me to get first class. With the number of AUs I had left. And then my mom was like, why? 为什么? Why? You just try hard lah. Then I'm like, Mom, it's literally impossible. I did the maths already. And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not the one who set the system, okay?
I have a question for God. Why?
So weird.
I think they have the idea because our government like say meritocracy. If you try your best, you'll be able to achieve. But some things you just can't because like mathematically speaking, you can't.
Yeah, literally you can't.
Yeah, that's all. There's no why.
There is no why. Like calculation wise, literally I cannot lah. I really cannot already because maths or how I know. Then like I remember my mom was pissed off at me for the whole day. Because I said that.
Oh, you didn't tell me that though.
Yeah, no, she was like, I went to work the other day. She lompang me to work. But then basically she was like kind of mad, but afterwards she forgot about it. But I still remember that, of course. That's the thing about Asian parents. They will forget what they tell you. Afterwards when you confront them about it. Yeah. Really meh?
Got
You
meh?
tell me meh? I tell you this meh? You sure or not?
Yes. Stop trying to guess like me, mom.
My mom doesn't really guess like me. She's like, oh, okay lor. Or she will just say the same thing. 哈，真的啊? Like, oh, really ah? Okay lor. Then why? Why can't you guess? I'm like, we had this conversation. I don't want to go through this again. Gosh darn it. I don't know, like, Singaporean parents tend to be quite, I remember, like, expectations. I think that's the main reason why we always feel very mediocre. Because in the face of our parents' expectations of us, right, as well as society's expectations of the young people, is just so harsh comparatively. I think it's quite harsh.
It is like super harsh. I mean, we see ourselves as mediocre because there's also like a lot of standards when it comes to beauty. I mean, it doesn't bother us, but I feel that a lot of the youngsters nowadays, I'm saying as if I'm very old. Actually, the two of us are not very old.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, they tend to believe that, like, for some reason, you need to be like the standard basic Chinese white 小妹妹, huh? Chinese white 小妹妹. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I suddenly Americanized the Singaporean 小妹妹. Okay,
yeah, but we don't say yellow 小妹妹, but basically.
Yeah, like
fair skin.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, I would say that that's the type. So a lot of like Singaporean girls feel mediocre. I think there are like many. I feel like Singapore, especially, right, the basic idea is that must be Chinese. So there's a layer of Chinese privilege when it comes to this kind of like whole type kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's another
topic
Yeah.
So like we're not gonna delve into that. So when people talk about mediocre, right, there's also like a layer of racism when it comes to this.
Agreed. Yeah,
so mediocre in Singapore, right, there are so many layers to this. So we cannot just say that, oh, we are mediocre, like in terms of looks. Like looks wise is very, very subjective. So especially as women, I'm not saying that guys don't have like high standards they have to live up to, but like as girls we have to care a lot about the way we look, and we must be smart, but not too smart. If you're too smart, then
your future husband won't want you.
Yeah.
Or you won't have a husband in future. It's not even your future husband don't want you.
And then it's like, hey, like one of the concerns that my mom always have is like, what if you are smarter than your future husband? Yeah, so what if I'm smarter than my future husband?
You're smarter lah, right?
Yeah, I'm smarter, good lah. That's a bad thing now. She's like saying it as though it's like a thing that I should not aim to
be, right? It's
Yeah.
so weird.
that kind of thing. Because recently I've been talking about getting a master's with my mom, and she's just worried like 现在的男人哪里有一个有 master's 的，就算有也没有轮到你 you know that kind of thing. So basically what she said is nowadays the guys why would they aim for a master's even if they have a master's you will not. What is 轮到你 in English?
It wouldn't be your turn.
Yeah, it won't be your turn.
I can't help but like let out a huge sigh, cause I don't know. I mean, I'm very thankful that my parents don't think this. I think maybe because like my parents have 2 daughters, so
Oh yeah.
yeah. But my parents have never really cared about the gender of their children, so I'm very thankful that they're not at least sexist in this way. But my extended family, they do have a bit of a yellow tinted glasses in Chinese. Yeah, basically they don't think that girls should be smarter than the boys. And there's something really gross about that thinking, because if I am smarter than your son, it's a fact that I'm smarter than your son. Don't try to I don't know, save his ego or whatever. But I don't want to argue, so I end up just being like, okay lor. I mean, they don't say don't be smarter than my son lah, of course they don't, but they do it by implying like, oh, how many years you have left, what's your GPA, or how old were you when you entered uni, because we're from MI, so we took 1 extra year to enter university, so they like to hold that against people. But then like, so what if I take 1 extra year? Your son go NS what?
Yeah, that's true.
So silly, I swear.
I think talking about mediocrity, right, there's also like different expectations depending on like your birth order.
Oh yes.
Birth order is one thing that we need to talk about. So just some background, I'm an only child and
I have a younger sister, but it's just the 2 of us. Yeah. I don't know, has being an only child made you feel more mediocre?
Yeah, it has, because I think the expectations is like super high. I only have you leh. I only got one chance and that's you.
You only got one chance.
Then who tell you don't give more chance for yourself?
Oopsie.
Now factory closed already, how?
Oh my lord, dude.
So, I don't know lah, but my parents tend to have like super high expectations of me, especially as I got older. Like when I was younger, they actually don't care for some weird reason. But now that I'm older, right, or they realize, oh shit, I'm getting old, like somebody needs to take care of me, and we only have you. So they look at me. My dad always like joke lah, but I don't really think the joke is that funny because I'm the one that's going through it. He always call me a 金蛋. 金蛋 means like a golden egg. So like I will keep producing coins for my mom in that sense. Actually, I'm a good golden goose if that's the case.
yeah, not just the egg.
Yeah, but because my mom is a goose apparently.
Lamau, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So the expectations was always like, okay, you need to make sure that all of our needs are being met. And of course, there's only you lah. So like, if you don't do it, then GG lah, toh lah.
Yeah.
How about you?
For me, because I'm the older child, my sister doesn't really have that much of an expectation. Basically, like her expectations is whatever I've done before, if you can hit that, good. But if you can't, it's okay, we won't force you. But for me, the moment I think you know this story, but basically when my parents first like moved to Jurong, like okay, the west side to stay, right, because I live very near NTU. Like they were looking into NTU, and then they apparently the newborn me, they were holding me in their arms, and then my mom looked at me and said, "This is the university you're going to."
The chosen one.
Oh my god! And then she pointed at NTU or something like that. And I mean, it came true, but still, you know, it's wild to me that you can look at a newborn child and be like, "You're going to university," and I mean, like that's like 20 years in the running.
Yeah,
right?
I mean back then,
essentially,
yeah.
right? Around 20 years now. Okay, then oh my god, my expectations are get to the highest PhD. Just go. That's the expectations. But of course, as we enter year 4, I'm starting to question my abilities.
Because research is an issue also.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my aim is a master's now lah. But I guess they will just take it lor. They'll be like, okay lah, master better than nothing lah. I'm like thinking, master better than nothing. Mother, what you saying? Oh, just.
You know, like, masters will already cost you to be overqualified for many jobs.
Yeah, and I don't want to be
Overqualified lah, because we want a job. That's why we're getting our masters in the first place, right?
exactly.
But I guess like this, in a sense, everybody has been telling us, you know, if you only stay at the bachelor, right, in a few years time, very easy one, 很快你就会被踢出局 already. Yeah, you will get disqualified in society. But the truth is that right now the society is not even ready for masters yet. You'll be overqualified for so many jobs. But at the same time, they're telling you, you just go outside and then you throw one rock, they will have a bachelor's degree.
They always say this.
They always say this, but is it really the truth? I mean, well, I am sort of fulfilling it by getting a master's, but I'm not just getting a master's because society wants me to. Now I'm very sure that I want a master's like on my own, you know. That's why I'm very excited to do it. But in the past, I would say that not even in the past, it's happening right now. People just want a master's because, oh, I'm better than you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but actually, let's be honest, the reason why we want masters is because we are opening more paths to other job opportunities, especially because our majors are one is too broad and one is too specialized. Let's be honest, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the
why.
reason also. Yeah.
I have to say that, you know, the whole idea of masters, right? A lot of people, we are seeing it as opening doors for us, right? But many people are actually going to masters because they are not ready for the real world yet. Have you ever heard of this before? They're like, oh, you know what? Masters is just like extending my time as a student, so it makes me feel more secure. Like I have more time to prepare for the future. But I feel like the longer that you stay in this bubble of like academia, right? The more you will feel like you're not ready for the real world lah. Whatever the real world is. Recently, I have had this discussion with my friends. I think I told you before, I'm on a Discord server with some of my friends. So if they actually come across this video, then so be it, okay? So one of my friends actually said that tuition and insurance agent, these two occupations are not real jobs because we don't have an office. So well, I don't know what my students think about that.
I don't know what my students think about that, but okay.
Yeah, but I feel like they need to stop discriminating certain jobs
Yeah.
just because it's not like
An
conventional.
office. Yeah.
And for goodness sake, like, if anything, right, tuition teacher and like insurance agents like the most popular jobs that are taken by undergrads when they graduate like nowadays.
Yeah,
I would
because
say.
it pays well if you do well, right?
And there's a demand. If there's no demand for a job, then you won't have a job, which is what's happening.
Oopsie
Sorry.
daisies.
It's well, that's the truth, is, you know. So I would say that if you really feel that a certain job makes you less or more than another person, and
To
it suits
reevaluate
you.
yourself, yes.
Precisely, yes.
You don't think that you
Did well for A levels.
mediocre lah, not didn't do well, but
Mediocre, yeah. I mean, I managed to enter university with my score, but I really felt like as though I'm not good enough because I couldn't get into like courses, like all the courses. I don't know why the expectation is to like, be able to enter all courses in order for you to think that you have done well, you know?
but there is an expectation like that. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So basically the idea that, oh, once you have more doors open to you, more opportunities open to you, then yeah, you are not mediocre. Or you are slightly better than everybody else. And this whole idea of like, oh, if you're not better than most people, then you're better than no one. All or nothing. I hate it.
I hate it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to answer like which time period was the most stressful for me. I think it was A levels.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I think it was A levels. I think
More than uni.
uni. I don't know. Once you get to uni, you kind of just feel like, okay, I just need to keep maintaining. But compared to like A levels, where you're gearing towards one specific examination at the end of the road,
Yeah.
it does get a bit stressful. Yeah, I think at that point in time, that time period, a couple of things were happening at home also, so it wasn't a very good time, I would say. But I made it anyway. I mean, definitely like my score is definitely mediocre because I only hit the back then the minimum score to enter university, right? 67.5. Yeah, I really didn't do very well. And but I say it's the most stressful, right? But my parents, weirdly enough, they were the least concerned, even though they desperately wanted me to go into university. They were the least concerned about me at the point in time. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I was extremely concerned, so they decided, okay, I'm just gonna leave her alone.
Yeah, because like,
yeah, I think that's what went down. To be
are
honest,
already,
Yeah.
that kind of vibes.
because if they pee, well, I will probably break lempao.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I agree. Back then we are all very 脆弱. And
Yeah.
that kind of,
we were younger. Not saying we're not young now lah, but we're younger.
yes, when we were younger. I think really honestly for us, O levels, A levels, it was just, I mean, it's over. What's over is over.
Mm-mm.
And we are much more, I would say, prepared in a sense to, I don't know, face like what people have to say about us lah.
That's true. I think so too. But I don't know. Mediocrity in and of itself is a very strange concept that has caused a lot of youngsters like us to become very disillusioned with what we think is good and what we think we need to move on. Like a lot of, okay lah, let's be honest, I know you have a couple of students who get very upset because they didn't do as well as they expected during O levels, and then they freak out, and then they feel like it's the end of the world,
Yeah.
right? And thinking back, right, I can see absolutely why, because I was also very concerned about my O-level scores. I didn't do super well, but I did well enough because I failed one subject, an important subject. So that's why I couldn't enter poly or JC. So I entered MI instead.
Yeah.
We still got to the same end goal.
Yeah, different, you know.
Yeah, different process, but same end result. Yeah.
I would say that a lot of people feel like repeating 1 year is basically wasting 1 year. The idea of time right now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know. Whenever we're thinking of like, what is wrong with taking 1 more year? I really want to ask. You're wasting time. Then I want to ask, so what? A lot of people, they didn't waste that year, but they wasted their future.
Yeah.
Like many people, they managed to get into JC, then realize that, oh shit, this is not for me, you know.
Oh, it's too fast for them.
Yeah.
They can't do well enough because there's not enough time for them to prepare themselves to get to the A levels.
This always reminds me of that time whereby the two of us were actually like, I think, ambassadors for management of business at MI.
Yes.
There was a lady who came in, her daughter couldn't enter poly and couldn't enter JC, so basically the same situation as me. So I thought that, oh nice, I'm gonna share my story and talk about how MI actually helped me. And then the lady just scolded me and said that we didn't deserve our A-level certificate because we took 1 more year to take the cert.
Yeah.
This actually happened, I swear, with my life. She was there and our poor teacher had to talk to that lady until 6 p.m. Like, okay, Karen, like 2016 Karen, I see you.
She's a literal Karen.
Yeah, she was. She was just scolding us, scolding me. Like, you know that she said in Chinese, 你们不应该拿到你们的 cert 的嘞，人家 JC 的人2年就拿到，你们3年才拿到，为什么你们要拿到你的 cert? So my question was like, should I translate it first so I have to do less subs?
Yeah, just translate it.
She said that others in JC actually took 2 years, but you all take 3 years, so like, why do you all deserve your cert? Then I want to ask her, then do people who like basically retain in JC, do they not deserve their certs as well?
I get what you mean. Basically, we are willingly putting ourselves out there to like endure the A-level syllables. Syllables.
Syllable.
A-level syllabus.
And curriculum.
Yeah, for another year and pay another year's worth of school fees to have a higher chance of getting into university. I wouldn't say we are any less deserving of the spot. If you think that we are very pathetic for needing 1 extra year, then okay lah.
Say that we are mediocre, but if anything, I feel that it takes a lot of courage to, well, not to fail, but to be willing to take a path that, you know, takes a longer time because you know your own needs. Well, I mean, I didn't have a choice, but at the same time, I knew that because I didn't have a choice because that was the need that, you know, is forcing that choice or like the lack thereof a choice for me, right? So I guess people, sometimes when they speak, they don't really speak logically, I would say.
Yeah. They don't. They really don't. And I think it's very strange to me that people have to equate the amount of time that you spend and your, I don't know, just like, for some reason, putting in more effort means you deserve less. And I'm like thinking, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like, what?
Right, exactly. Like, people who do 5 years in normal acad, I think, I wouldn't say they deserve more, but they absolutely deserve the exact same like opportunity and chance to get the O-level cert, right? They spend 1 extra year gearing towards O-level, and it's actually harder for them because the gap is actually quite big. So it's actually even
More tedious.
yeah, for them to do that. And people,
For some reason, they are looking down on people who are trying harder
and that's just so weird
to meet
to
their
me.
damn expectations as well, you see? Like, what are we trying so hard for? To meet your expectations, to like get our certs, you know, to just survive in this like world. It's unequal enough as it is.
Yeah.
Why do you want to make it worse?
And you just shit on people for just taking more time and doing more than you need to. Then
I guess for them it's really about equality. Like, oh, everybody deserves the same amount of help. But people have different needs. I think that this is something that we need to see. Imagine if, let's say, everything must be equal, right? Then don't send your kids to tuition. Well, I'm saying that the tuition teacher
Either that or every single person
gets tuition. Yes.
Okay, if that's what you want.
Yeah. Then they'll ask, then what's the point of tuition? Then why are you bitching about equality?
Yeah, exactly. It's true. They'll be like, oh, I earn a lot for my kid to go and take tuition. Then, but just because you earn a lot to be able to give your kids the chance to take tuition doesn't mean that people who can't afford it don't deserve the chance. You know? I'm sorry. I'm very done with this kind of thinking. I hate it. I sound like there is a personal experience, kinda. Yeah,
no
there
idea,
is.
like, does meritocracy work anymore in our society? Obviously it doesn't. Like, we need to understand that, like, we don't have a level playing field. Like, we're trying to level shit as much as possible, but we need to understand that that's not possible because in a society where it's this diverse, you will have to expect like a lot of inequalities. And in Singapore, the biggest like contemporary issue, if I may argue, is definitely like income inequality.
Yeah.
Before anything else, and your income, your background really changes a lot of things. I think people say that, oh, don't blame others for being rich. No, we're not blaming you for being rich. And trust me, because I'm benefiting from this whole rich people thing. I'm a tutor, for goodness sake. But like, I do feel that people have to recognize these barriers to success and not like punch down to the people.
Absolutely.
Punching down is just disgusting, man.
And it's so unfair for the people who are, because they didn't ask to be there and they just aren't as fortunate as you are. You know, I mean, they might not see it as misfortune, but you must see yourself as fortunate enough to get that, like to be above them, I guess.
Precisely.
You want to put it above. I don't know.
So I feel that nowadays mediocre, right, is something that's already almost lost its meaning. Is what I'm trying to say. Like
Everything and everyone is mediocre.
Yeah, seriously. Because we can't help but feel that way. If society is gonna make us feel that way, or we're gonna feel that way ourselves because of society. I'm not trying to push the blame and everything to society, but individuals make up society. Right?
Yeah, let's be honest, yes.
So it's like a vicious cycle in that sense.
I mean, some people can see it as like gearing towards perfection, but if you are, this is not gearing towards perfection, honestly speaking, because it's causing more damage than
How
good.
can you ever be perfect in a world that's asking for more every single second,
Yeah.
if anything?
Exactly. Like, okay, even now, just like doing this podcast, most of the time, like if you tell, like especially the older generation, like, oh, what did you do today? Oh, I did a podcast. They're gonna be like, you用了吗? Got use? Like, oh, what are you doing this for?
Practicality.
This kind of thing. Like the expectation is like we should spend every waking moment doing something that's productive or good for society or for yourself, in a practical sense. Because okay lah, maybe a podcast isn't so practical.
But it's very healing though, I feel, to
Yeah.
say what we feel.
I agree.
And I dare say that like our opinions are actually not that controversial. It's actually just something that people refuse to not acknowledge, but
They'd rather just not think about it.
yes.
Yeah. Because otherwise it's very hard to live life.
Yeah, especially in our society
Yeah, man.
that expects so much from us.
I think mediocrity in Singapore just means being not meeting expectations, except expectations keep changing each time you hit that expectation. That's mediocrity. So basically there's no way to win that, huh? Put it that way.
The Maslow hierarchy, that thing, right? The self-actualization. You just keep on
Yeah. There's no way it once you hit it, right, it will be like whoop. You can't reach me again, you gotta come up. And it's just endless. It just keeps going up.
Precisely. So like it has lost its meaning, and I feel like if we want to say that we're mediocre, then everybody else can be mediocre with us,
Yeah.
because we all have the same idea that this is our society. I mean, obviously we don't expect ourselves to change the society like in a day or whatever, and I think it'll be very idealistic for us to think that we can change society.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. It's true. It's true.
So, I just, idealistically speaking, I would like society to change and for people to just be fairer to each other and themselves. But like, let's be honest.
We can't help but not be fair to ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't help it. I just think that it's just. But okay, before we end off, there is one thing that you say it actually, like the whole thing that a lot of people are like saying, it's okay to have this kind of thought process. It's not gonna harm anyone or anything. But for example, basically, okay, we're gonna sound like assholes, but the thing about my sister and our GPA. So the two of us, we discuss our GPA and we're always saying that we're not good enough, right? To the point that my sister, who's not in university, she thought that second upper isn't
very, very bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. But it literally is second upper. Then actually afterwards, my sister was like, "Oh, so what's before? What's above that? First class." And then my sister is like, "Oh, are there any more classes above that?" But literally, it's already called first class. But the how to say, because we discussed it so much, right? The misconception became so deep that she thought that second upper meant that it wasn't good, But to be fair to ourselves, second upper isn't good only relative to first class. And first class is the highest that you can get already. And you can see how harmful it can be, right? Like, it's never good enough getting second place. You gotta be first place. If you're in first place but it's 91%, why aren't you getting 99? Why aren't you getting 100? if I just keeps pushing, it's just
There's always room
halfway.
for improvement.
Oh yes,
See?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword right there. There's always room for improvement.
I hate it. Oh my god. I mean,
Yeah.
I always say this to my students also lah. But if my students are feeling lazy for like a day or a lesson, I'll be like, okay lah, you can raise your hand lah. Don't need to write lah, that kind of thing. Because I know there's no point in pushing.
You're saying that, but then the two of us, we're like queen of delayed gratification.
Because we delay until it's endless.
Yeah,
endless
don't
delay.
need to gratify anything. I just go to
delay
bed.
forever. Yeah.
Oops. So yeah, mediocrity. Okay, so that was our take on the whole idea of being mediocre in Singapore. Like mediocre, of course, we say it with a huge quotation marks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's more like an umbrella term of our culture lah, I would say.
yeah, mediocrity. My goodness, what else do they expect?
Too much. Way
Yeah.
too much.
Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you for listening to us. It's been like a fat hour, almost a fat hour.
Nice.
So yeah, thanks, and I guess okay, we can show off our daddies before we let we go, and mummies. I don't have mummies. So over here I have Mr. Lee Kuan Yew and Mr. Lee Hsien Loong when he's a baby. Look at this, so pretty. And over here I have Jamus Lim. He's not daddy, but he's opar. So there we go. So nice.
But anyway, this is one of my mommies. This is Hannah Arendt. She's a philosopher. Okay. Oh my lord. And
Is it very
then
wet?
yeah, it's very wet. And then there is Mo Zi, you know, my handsome Chinese philosopher. She's too cute for words.
Okay, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video.
Okay, bye
Bye.
bye.